how do you say coffee in 4 different languages?
Sure. So in Spanish, café, as your
Yes.
show.
Yes.
English, coffee, of course. Then French would be café.
The same way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can say coffee with milk, café au lait.
Okay.
Then we have German, is Kaffee. It's just a bit harsh. Kaffee.
Cafe. Okay.
Italian, caffè. It's basically the
So
same in all.
it's not yet. The name of our episode is What You've Always Wanted to Know About a Flight Attendant. So for me, I love traveling. I know a lot of people do too. And, there's just some things that I've always wanted to know. So I thought it would be a fun episode if we could talk to a flight attendant and just ask her those types of questions that we've always wanted to know. So as our special guest, I'm very excited that she's able to join us today. We have Reyes.
Hi, well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm happy to be answering some questions that you might have about my life and what we do as flight attendants. And well, I'm 23 years old. I'm Spanish from Sevilla. And to be honest, I cannot say that flight attendant was my dream job. I actually studied translation and interpreting, but my last year at university turned out quite stressful, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I didn't want a 9 to 5 job. I just wanted to travel and to make good use of the languages that I had been learning. So I found this piece of advertisement from a company that was willing to hire people without any previous experience. And I said, okay, I'm gonna get ready. And I went to the interview and I got through. And then they trained
That's
me.
awesome.
And after a month and a half, I was already operating my first flights. That was amazing.
So, like, how was the training? Was it like really difficult? Did you have to do a lot of hands-on, or can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, first of all, we had it was like 6 weeks total, 1 month and a half,
Okay.
and we firstly did the theory part.
Okay.
We had to study quite a lot, like how do planes work and what's your job, because many people might think that being a flight attendant is just bringing beer or coffee or food
Mm-hmm.
or just be there to say hello and goodbye. But
Yeah.
it's not. We are actually trained to react in case of fire emergencies. We are trained to react also if there is any health emergency,
Of course.
and you have to learn all that.
Yes.
So we were trained first theoretically, and then we did our practical training. We actually went to Italy to do that,
Oh,
and
that's nice.
we had like a special place to do it, and it was really nice. 1 week, yeah, doing the fire training and the
Yeah.
like what happens in case of a heart attack or things like
Yeah.
that.
So at what point, like during the training, did you feel like, oh my God, this is like, I really like this. I'm so glad that I chose this. Or in the beginning, were you like, what did I do?
Yeah, the first week I was like, oh my God, there's so many things to learn that I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish. And I was really like stressed that I wouldn't be able to learn everything that I had to. But then we took our first exam. Actually, we have a really funny story because there are two main exams,
Uh-huh.
and someone comes from outside to give that exam to you. It's not your usual teacher.
Okay.
So this person came and everything was like ready, and we start the exam and I look at the questions. I was like, oh my God, I don't know anything. And I started sweating and like I wanted to cry. I was
Oh
like,
my
I studied
gosh.
so much for this. And then I called this person that came and I was like, I'm so sorry, but I don't know anything. Can I give you back the exam? I'm just gonna go home. And he
Wow.
looked at it and he was like, oh my God, I gave you the wrong one. This is the
Are you
second exam that
serious?
you take. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right,
All
so
of
the
us.
second question that I have for you, I'm sure a lot of people want to know. So the airplane food. Do the flight attendants eat the airplane food?
Well, it actually depends on the airline that you fly with. Like, for example, I fly with a European low-cost airline.
Okay.
So for us, if we want to eat, we have to bring our own food, or we can either eat the plane's food, but then you have to pay for it. And
Okay. Do you get like
that's
a
just my
discount or something if you have to like,
you get discounts, but
okay.
you have to pay for it. But
Okay.
most airlines do provide food for their cabin crew.
Okay. Okay.
It's just mine.
What do you think like of airplane food?
I at the beginning I was excited to try it, but
Mm-hmm.
then after I'm almost 2 years flying already,
So you
so
always bring your lunch or
I'm
dinner,
so bored
whatever?
of
Okay.
airplane food. Yeah, I do
Okay.
bring. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, what about any pet peeves that you have, like that passengers do? Like, I mean, we all have our pet peeves, like different things, but like as a flight attendant, like what are some pet peeves?
I do have a lot. One of them is like, for example, in my airline, when you come in the plane, we do have to ask for the boarding card to make sure that you're in the
Of
right
course.
plane and going to the right destination. It's not the
Yes.
same in every airline, but we do ask for it. And like you ask for it nicely, and passengers go like again or third time. Come on, they get like, I don't know, they don't like to show the boarding card, but I mean it's their job. And
Yes. Okay.
another funny one that is like we do fly everywhere around Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and the only language that we have to speak is English.
Okay.
But then we're people from everywhere, so I'm Spanish. I do speak Spanish as well, and in total I speak 5 languages. But there are some times that, for example, a passenger who is from Poland comes
Uh-huh.
and they get really offended because I don't speak Polish. Like you can choose from 5 languages, but I'm sorry, I don't speak Polish,
I mean,
and they
it's
do get
amazing you
offended.
speak 5 languages. So what do you do with like when they don't speak like English or or Spanish or any of the 5 languages? Like what do you guys do?
It happened many times. So what we usually do is we try to find someone to
Okay.
use them as a translator
Okay. Okay.
if
Okay.
it's really important. Other times I just say, leave it, it's fine, and that's it.
What about I know I don't really use it that much when I travel, but like the call bell, like those passengers that like constantly like, use the call bell, like do you find that rude or do you find it like helpful when they use that call bell? What do you
I
think?
know there's people that they're like afraid to use it, and there's other people who love to use it. Um, Me personally, I'd rather have a passenger pressing the call bell that like waving at me from afar or like yelling at me like, mistress, I'm sorry. No, I'd rather have a call bell, because like that also, we are 4 cabin crew members usually, so
Mm-hmm.
for sure one of us is gonna notice it, and we might take some time to get to it,
Yeah.
um, because we're busy or whatever, but we will get to you for sure.
Okay.
Just what
And
I think it's not so polite is like to keep on pressing
right.
it.
What would you say it's the most common reason passengers use the call bell for?
Um, well, to order food or drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also sometimes because they're not feeling well.
Okay.
In that case, for sure, use it. If you're not feeling well, we are there. We will take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, I can say it's kids playing with the cowbell,
Oh my gosh.
and the
Yes.
parents are just like laughing because it's really funny.
Yes. What about this one? So, when you first enter a plane, one of the first things that they tell you is to turn off your phones, right? And, is that something that do we really need to turn off our phones? Because I've heard that, you don't really have to turn it off. And now I'm thinking, I'm like, is that something that we need to do?
Well, so unfortunately, the answer isn't clear. Like I
Mm-hmm.
cannot say yes, you have to turn it off, or no, it's fine. It's not necessarily that a phone can bring down a plane. The issue is that the phones interfere with the airplane, and they cause more work for the pilots during critical phases such as takeoff and landing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just say keep it on the airplane mode for the whole flight, because anyway we cannot receive calls when we're in the
Mm-hmm.
air. We don't get internet, and if you don't have the airplane mode, then just keep it off for takeoff and landing, and that's it.
Yeah. So do you guys, as flight attendants, you guys turn off your phones or put it on airplane mode during the flights?
I just keep it on airplane mode, yeah.
Yeah. What are some like good things, some bad things about being a flight attendant? And this is kind of like a two-part question, because it is like a widely held belief that flight attendants have enough free time to see the cities or different countries their job takes them to, right? Is
Mhm.
that your case?
Well, in my case with my airline, what we do is that we always do a round trip. So we always go and come back the same day to the same airport, let's say. So when you finish your training, you are assigned a base. Mine, for example, is in Germany.
Okay.
It's Cologne for whoever wants to know it. So in a normal day for me, I will depart from Cologne and I will land somewhere else, and then I will finish my day in Cologne.
Okay.
So I don't get to see the destinations, let's say. But the good thing is that we have like a fixed pattern for work. So I will always work 5 days and then I'll get 3 days off, which in
Okay.
other companies is not like that. So for me, it's good because in these 3 days, I can always plan ahead what I want to do. And I usually, in my 3 days off, I travel somewhere else in Europe since I have cheaper tickets. And I spend these 3 days traveling. And then on my holidays as well, I usually travel a bit farther, so out of Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And good and bad things. Well, for sure, the cons for me are that I'm far from my family,
Yeah.
so I don't get to be with them on special occasions or birthdays, things like this. And something that I hate is that my sleeping cycle is ruined since I started working as a flight attendant.
I bet.
Also,
Yeah.
something that can be not so good is that if you plan to have a family,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the best job.
Right.
The good things I would say is that for me, I personally love to be home. So I always end up my day in Germany at
Okay.
home. So I can sleep in my bed with my things. I don't have to kind of like put my life in a suitcase.
Because I know you have like a smaller sister, right? Like a younger sister. Yeah. How do you keep in, how do they feel about you being a flight attendant? Do they
Yeah,
like it?
they video call me every night
Yeah.
when I'm not working because sometimes I work in the evenings. My sister is the one that complains most.
Yeah.
Like when I left, she was sad and she was always telling me to quit my job and go back to Spain.
Yeah.
But then they got the chance to come to visit me in Germany,
Oh,
and
nice.
they got to know the place where I live and the city and everything. And since then, I think they're
And do you foresee yourself like being a flight attendant? Like, is this something that you want to do long term, or do you think that you'll go back to languages? How do you feel about that?
I don't feel like that's like this is gonna be my lifetime job because,
Mm-hmm.
as I said, if I plan to have a family, which I plan,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's not easy. I know people who do it, but
Yes.
it's not easy.
Right.
I would love to go back to languages. My dream job was always to be an interpreter at the European Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm looking forward to it, and I know someday I'll study for it, and I will try my best
Yes.
to achieve it. But for now, I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
What do you do to keep yourself busy, like during long flights? Like I know, when we went, me and my husband to Spain, it was like a 10-hour flight or something like that. So for me, I love, like I already said, I love traveling. So for me, I just enjoy the whole experience. I can, watch a movie, read a book, whatever. Like the time doesn't go long for me. Like I just so excited to get to my destination. But of course, I'm not a flight attendant. What do you do to keep yourself busy?
Well, first I'd like to explain a bit how it works because you should know that there are like long hauls as you did,
Mm-hmm.
10 hours. Beyond 6 hours is gonna be called long haul.
Okay.
Then we have short and medium. Short
Okay.
will be from 30 minutes to 3 hours, and
Okay.
medium is from 3 hours to 6 hours.
Okay.
So in my airline, we just do short and medium haul. We never do long haul. We just stay in Europe. And well, it depends on the days that I have. Like there are days that are really long. For example, we have this flight from Cologne to Aqaba in Jordan.
Oh,
It's
wow.
5 hours to go and 5 hours to come back, and that feels really long because in companies where they do long haul, they actually have beds where flight attendants can go. They can sleep during the flight. They have like the rest period,
And I
but we
was
don't.
reading that. I actually saw pictures. It's like it looks like little like a bunk bed, and it's like, but
Yes,
it's like
exactly.
they barely has any space. You can't even sit down. Like, it's but they do get to take like 4 hour. That's what
Yeah.
I read because when I was doing research. Yeah.
Even the pilots change, and it's not the same pilots that do the whole flight.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, we do these 10 hours plus the time that we're on the ground changing passengers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So this day, when you arrive home, you're just exhausted. You just want to remove your shoes and lay in bed and never wake up again.
All right. So this one is one of my favorite questions, and is who is your worst passenger? And what has he or she done to deserve this title?
Definitely, the worst passengers are those going to party destinations. Like when summer comes, for
Mm-hmm.
example, German passengers, they go to Palma de Mallorca in Spain
Okay.
looking for good weather and party
Yeah.
24/7. The problem comes when they're already drunk before they even board the plane, and then during the flight, they become disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
So, my worst passenger was this one that I will never forget. Intoxicated young German guy with his group of friends who decided that it was a good idea to show his speed.
Oh my gosh.
And
What?
I mean, he didn't harm anyone. It was just like a joke for them, right? But the police did pay him a visit when we landed, of
Oh my
course.
God. So I'm sorry you have to deal with that sometimes. And the last question that I have for you is, what is your favorite destination?
Well, actually, since I don't get to stay at the destinations, my favorite one is determined by the type of passengers that I'll have and not by the nice
Right.
place that I'm gonna stay at.
Okay.
So I would say that my favorite destination is Berlin because it's like a national flight from Cologne to Berlin with like national German flight full of really polite and organized passengers. You don't even have to tell them what to do; they already know. And it's mostly businessmen. They don't cause any problem, and they make everything really easy for us.
So that is your ideal flight.
Yeah,
That's nice. All right. So Regis, I really do appreciate the time you have taken to talk to us and what is, how is the life of a flight attendant, and some of the things that we should know as passengers, right? Just how to be more thoughtful and how to be better passengers. So any last words, maybe for someone that is thinking of becoming a flight attendant, and any last words that you may have.
sure. If you wanna be a flight attendant, just go for it. Anything you want to do in this life, I think we should go for it, right? Because we just have one life. If we don't do it now, when are we gonna do it? So just go for it. It doesn't matter if it takes more time for you to study or to get through the interview. If they say no the first time, they will say yes the second or the third. Just don't give up.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for that. Thank you again, Regis. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully, everyone can listen to this and just learn how to become a better passenger.